After a long hiatus, I'm finally back with another review, and we got a good one today. This green little Bachmann Light Mountain one. Like I said, it is by Bachmann, unfortunately, which I'm not the biggest fan of this brand, but it just looked so cool. I had to get it. So I'll take it out here, get on the track, and give it the old runaround. So let's start reviewing. Alright, well here it is in all of its glory on the track here. Got a nice, cool little green train behind it to keep the theme going. Get it started here so you can see how it runs around. Alright, well the first thing you probably notice is it is a gorgeous looking engine. I don't think I have anything that comes close to the look of this thing. It is beautiful. Definitely a show train. I'm not sure how many of these were actually green back in the day, but it is stunning looking at first glance. I gave it a full 10 because it's hard to get much better than this. It is super cool, which is what kind of originally drew me to it originally there. As for the materials, I believe it's all plastic. After I started playing around with it a little more, it does feel a little on the cheap side, but that's Bachmann for you, I guess. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of that brand because they tend to cheap it out. I gave it a 6 in this case because obviously I always like to see like full metal, but even though it looks like it does, unfortunately, there's just a little bit of cheapness feel to it overall. As for the uniqueness, how often do you see this in green? I hardly ever do, but it looks really stunning and cool. I'm not sure if they come in any other colors, but green is definitely working for it here. If you recall, I have another engine just like this one. I believe it's an Iron Mountain. I did a review on this one too. You can tell it's the same engine, just one's green, obviously, and this one is black. Now, I think I normally always see these in black, but you know, the green just makes it look so much better, I think. So, you know, from a uniqueness standpoint, since you almost always see them in green, or in black, I mean, you know, I give it a 9 because it's pretty special. Now, I'm not sure how it comes across in the video because I haven't edited it yet, but it does come up with there's two distinct noises as it's running around. There's like a somewhat of a scream and a screech, and then there's like a clanking noise. Almost sounds like the wheels are hitting something as it goes around. So, not the quietest engine in the world by any stretch. Very unfortunate there. I gave it a 3. It's not the worst ever, but it's definitely not good, and it's, you know, I wish it would be a lot better. For the power needed to get going, it seems to take a lot before it really gets chugging along. It probably starts to slow crawl, maybe 25-30% up the way, up the dial, but it doesn't really pick up speed until you get about 75% up the way up the dial. So because of that, I gave it a 3. Because it does take a lot of juice to get going. Now for the power, I gave it a 3. Doesn't seem to be the strongest engine of the world, probably average at first glance, but it also struggled when I was testing it out to get up my hill there at times. So the cars you see running around with it is probably the most it can pull before it stalls out, and even in some of the clips you'll see it sort of stalls out and then kicks across. Not necessarily an engine power thing or motor strength, but I'm considering it as part of the motor strength, as I've done in my previous reviews. So unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be able to pull a whole lot, especially up a hill, which is ironic because it's, you know, a light mountain engine, so can't pull that mountain with a lot of cars. Well, here is our slow crawl test. It's actually better than I initially thought it was going to be. But it is still kind of jerky, and it can't really go much slower than this. You can see it's struggling a little bit, and those cars kind of jiggle around just a little. I'm still giving it a 3 because it should be better from what it is, but it's a little bit off, as you can tell. As for derailment, I haven't really had a problem at all with this one, I don't think. So, give it a 9. There's a lot of wheels there to get on the track initially, but no problems so far once it is on it. They do seem to have a good lip on them. Keeps everything nice and tight on the track. Problems with this guy, I haven't really had any big defining ones, but when you add up all the little stuff, I'm kind of disappointed. Screeching and banshees, noises, I wish it would be better. Struggles up the hill, as I mentioned earlier, could be better. I give it a 6. So this engine, I mean, just looking at it, it should be a lot better than it is, honestly. But there's just a lot of little things wrong with it. From a details wise, I mean, my God, look at it. It is stunning and really good. They did a good job on the details. Lots of fine little tidbits here and there, which I'm sure is realistic. But just from an operation perspective, it could really be a lot better than what you get, or at least with this particular model. Alrighty, well, what did you think I paid for this? It's kind of a funny story. I was at a train show that came by, and I saw not this one, but one like it. It was all black, another Bachmann Spectrum. I'm pretty sure it was the exact same thing, but it was black, and I think it was. I want to say it was $70, and I'm like, I kind of like it. It looks kind of cool, but let me look on eBay to see, what else might be out there. And that's when I stumbled on this guy. I don't believe it was an auction. I believe it was a straight up buy it now. Obviously, it was the same one I was looking at, but it was green, and I'm like, wow, that looks a lot better. I'm going to get this one. So for $5 more, I paid $75 for it. Again on eBay, which was, again, $5 more than the black one I saw at the train show. So I was really excited. And so, it came and I opened it up and I'm like, put it on the track. I'm like, oh, it doesn't work as well as I hoped. But, for the value for the money, I would have paid about $70 for this. I think that would have been a nice fair price down the middle. So I probably overpaid a bit. I personally mainly just keep it in the display case and don't run it too often. Just because it doesn't work as well, but it sure looks good, out in the case. So I gave it a 6. I'm not sure what this would have cost new. My guess would have been at least $100. And this would have been, I would only expect in the 90s, just from the look of the brochures that came in the box and all the paperwork. Talks about mailing in. I don't see well, there is a website on the box. So right there, but everything's like mail your questions into us, and as opposed to like email. So I gotta think it's like late 90s probably, especially if there's a website on it, or early 2000s could be, would be my guess. And it probably retailed for around $120 if I had to guess back then. So I'm not sure what that equivalent is today. But again, that's all my guess. So a little bit of a premium, but I still like it because it looks so cool. Alrighty, well, when you total it all up, it comes in at 58. Certainly not the best engine I've ever reviewed by any stretch. In fact, actually, it's kind of right down the middle. My average overall has been 63 to this point, where this is a 58. But it's ranked number 12 of 23 models I've reviewed so far. So, kind of down the middle, which I thought it'd be more towards the lower end, based on everything else, because the looks is the only thing it has going for it. Overall, I am happy I bought this, even though I a little overpaid. And even though it doesn't really work as well as I'd hoped, it still looks amazing and probably one of the best models from a looks perspective that I have. So love the green. Again, I don't know if it comes in any other color, but it's definitely way better looking than the black version, and certainly better than that Iron Mountain look that I showed before too. Green just makes everything pop, and it looks so much better and cooler, and you know, I'm glad I got this. So that's kind of it for this one. Stay tuned for more to come for sure. Happy to hear from you comments wise what you think. And if you have this one or one like it, Bachmann Spectrum Iron Mountain or Light Mountain engine, I'd like to hear if you have a similar experience than my own, or is this one like specifically broken for some reason and I need to like do something. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. More to come. Thanks for joining.